Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Note to self, do not learn a song like 70 seconds before you play it. That was Attempting to Be Suspicious Minds by Elvis Presley. For those of you of a certain age in this group or older. Which is the theme of tonight's talk. We need to be suspicious, ladies and gentlemen. This failed, nationally threatening, unconstitutional, catastrophically failed, I should say, loan scam, which cannot continue in this good country of ours, has always relied on tricks and traps and schemes and tricky wording and all sorts of deception, omissions, fraud, and so forth in order to continue to rob unearned wealth from the citizenry. And when I say rob, I mean robbers. And when I mean robbers, I'm talking about the servicers. I'm talking about the guarantors. I'm talking about the collection companies. And yes, indeed, I'm talking about the Department of Education, which is the most captured, cancerous, bad-faithed lending agency in our nation's history. These people are sharks and thieves. There are good people at the Department of Education, don't get me wrong. But there's some very bad people running the federal student loan program. I'm not particularly talking about the appointed people, like the presidential appointees, like James Kowal, Richard Cordray. No. I'm talking about the unelected bureaucrats in and among and around and under the presidential appointees running the thing, including like Betsy DeVos and Secretary Cardona and stuff. Those people are window dressing on what has become the most pernicious and most threatening lending scam in the history of our country. So I'm just kind of thinking out loud here tonight. It's Friday night, guys, and I wanted to change it up a little bit. Welcome, by the way, if you're new to the group. We are the oldest and largest grassroots group of citizens in the country. We've been fighting this battle for 18 years now. And we've learned a few things. We are normal people, by the way. We don't do little secret deals with secret people. We don't have any ulterior motives or agenda. The only thing that we're trying to do is get rid of this failed lending scam through, first and foremost, the return of constitutional bankruptcy rights to the loans, which lies at the key of everything, whether you would ever or never file, but also more recently through the cancellation, the presidential cancellation or secretarial education cancellation, the administrative cancellation of all federally owned student loans by executive order, which is 87% of all student loan debt. So we're glad that you found us. Please spread the word, if you would, about this group. It's very important. But we have grown to be very healthily suspicious over the years because we've seen the Department of Education say one thing and do another, break its word, promise this, go completely back on their word, finger pointing, all the games that are played in Washington, D.C., and I would say Manhattan as well, to keep us enslaved, financially, economically enslaved under this ridiculous and, as I said, catastrophically failed lending program. So here we are, guys. We were gravely, blatantly betrayed last congressional session by Congress, most notably the Democrats. We're a fiercely nonpartisan group, by the way. Whether you're a Republican, Democrat, or otherwise, you are very welcome on this group. We frankly hate both parties at this point in different ways, true, but we hate them both nonetheless, and for very good reason, because we've seen trick after trap after trick after hustle after scheme after con again and again and again. And at the end of the day, we, the people, get left holding the bag. We do not have to put up with this shit, ladies and gentlemen. But I digress. So tonight, and by the way, if you have any questions or comments and you're watching us on Twitter or Facebook, throw them out. I'm going to keep it pretty quick tonight, guys. But by all means, throw out your comments as they should arise. We're very happy to respond to them. Questions, comments, editorial opinions, or otherwise. But we've seen just this is a lending system imbued in bad faith. And a lot of people are wondering, as am I, all borrowers are kind of wondering, what is going to happen? What's going to go on in the next few months? So I'm going to take my best shot at stuff that we might see in the next few months, just so you can be prepared, so that you can say that you heard it here first. Forewarned is forearmed. So I guess the things that are worth talking about is, number one, obviously we are in a repayment pause, as hopefully most of you know. Most of you have not been paying since COVID, and that continues here today, nearly 3 years. What will turn that lending program back on is one of two things. Also, you should know about the student loan cancellation proposal from President Biden, something that started on this group, by the way. That concept, I kid you not, had its origins in this group and some interviews we did, but more to the point, a petition that we started in March 2020, well before anybody was talking about student loan cancellation by executive order. The whole concept, its genesis, was on this group. So we have a lot to be proud of. But Biden's student loan proposal was a far cry from what we had originally intended, which was the full, total cancellation of all federally owned student loans by executive order, something that President Trump, frankly, should have done. It was the biggest mistake of Trump's presidency, was that he did not cancel all, not some, not many, all federally owned student loans by executive order. President can do this, and the law on this is clear, whether you're looking at the Higher Education Act, which gives the secretary very clear, broad authority to waive, compromise, release the debt, or if you're looking at rather ill-fitting legislation, but nonetheless, like the HEROES Act, which is the $10,000 loan cancellation gimmick, let's be honest, that Biden announced just before the election, is based on the HEROES Act. And as hopefully you know, that's all tied up in the courts right now. So on February 28th, the Supreme Court is scheduled to hear the arguments about whether or not President Biden actually has the legal authority to cancel these loans under the HEROES Act, and also whether the people, the student loan swamp creatures, the bad people, our opposition, who mounted the legal challenge, even have standing to bring the case in the first place. I don't know if that's a settled question or not. They really don't have standing, by the way. There's no harm to them. But anyways, that's a different issue. But I want to talk about what we can expect. So depending on how that case goes and other litigation, because there's not just the Supreme Court case, there's also a case winding around, was it Nebraska or Indiana? There's other cases out there that are kind of perking along, but the loans will be turned on when those cases are settled. And if those cases are not settled, if they keep going on and on and on, even still, the loans will be turned on, according to Biden, like 30 days after like June 30th or something like that. So that's going to be like end of July. Don't quote me on that. I think that's right, but I'd have to reread the most recent press release from the Department of Education or the Biden administration to make sure that's true. But there's a lot of things that could happen between now and then. And I just want to make you aware of some of the things. And, my knowledge, while good, and my intuitions, while usually very prescient, I would say, on this issue, I'm just spitballing here, guys. I'm just guessing things that might happen and that you might want to be aware of. If you have any ideas of your own for stuff that might happen, who knows? It's probably a good idea, and it's worth reading out, worth us bantering around here tonight. So here's what we do know, guys. The lending system has catastrophically failed. Even before the pandemic, 60% nearly of all borrowers, that's nearly 2/3 of all borrowers, had stopped paying on their loans. And another 25% were paying, but their loan balances were going up. So these people were never going to be able to repay their student loans. That's a grand total of 85% of all borrowers. Now, you'll never see that reported in the press. Why? I don't know. We shout it from the rooftops all the time, but nobody in the media seems to have the courage to point these two facts out. Go figure. Don't trust the media, by the way. The media is by and large against us, if you haven't noticed. So the Department of Education knows this. These people aren't stupid. They can see the writing on the wall. People have had 3 years of not paying to rethink their lives and realize how fucking stupid this entire lending program is at this point. It's a national joke. So I guarantee you that before the loans are turned back on, if Biden's word is to be taken as true, and that's an open question in and of itself, but before they turn on these loans, I guarantee you they're going to do some kind of trick, and they're going to do everything possible to make you feel good about resuming payments on your loan. So I think there's a very quite good chance that they're going to offer you, and they have already sort of announced that they were thinking that they were planning something around these lines. I would bet that they are going to do something where if you're a defaulted borrower, which is like 25, if not 30% of all borrowers, frankly, I think something like 40%, maybe even, of everyone with student loans, even if they're not currently in default, they did default at one time or another in the past. So a huge amount of people are in default, and I think they will probably make an offer to everyone in default saying, hey, we will happily take your loans out of default. So you don't have a negative check on your credit record or whatever. And, we can't garnish your wages and blah, 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 blah. We're very happy to at no cost to you, they'll probably say, just check this box or something, and we will happily take your loans out of default. Well, that may sound good to some people, but guys, I'm here to tell you that is a trap. We're caught in a trap. The Elvis song, we're caught in a trap. Don't fall for it, guys. In my humble opinion, people are going to make their own decisions, but rehabilitating defaulted student loans, there's already laws on the books that govern that, is a horrible thing to do. Statistically, it's been shown that these rehabilitated loans, they default again a second time around 80% of the time. And with the existing rehabilitation program, it's like, yeah, just sign here and pay for 10 months. Yeah, they suck 10 months of payments out of you. And yeah, they turn your loan into a non-defaulted loan, but they add tremendous penalties and fees and other things. So if you default on a loan at $50,000, very good chance that you're going to, if you rehab those loans, you're going to sign for a new loan that could be $100,000 easily. And they take all that interest and they capitalize it and blah, 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 blah. So what started out as an unmanageable loan that you wound up defaulting on becomes a mega nightmare loan that indeed the odds are overwhelming that you will default on these loans again. So be very careful. Monsters bearing gifts or something. I don't know what the saying is, but and remember, a lot of people in our group, they've been in default for many, many years, and it's fallen off their credit record for all intents and purposes. There's no history of it on their credit records, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So signing anything that the Department of Education puts in front of you or turning in any application, there's a lot of risk associated with that. Signing your name onto a new loan kind of gives it a new breath of life in many ways, guys. And there's a myriad of things I'm not suggesting that could happen that I'm just not thinking about. But there's a ton of ways that signing for a new loan really can open up a can of just nightmare for you. In my humble opinion, the entire lending system is completely not trustworthy. For example, I will never, ever, I'm a defaulted borrower, by the way. At this point, I'd say I'm a proud defaulted borrower. I wear it like a badge of honor at this point, which is crazy. But we do not have to put up with this shit, guys. I will never sign anything that the Department of Education puts in front of me again, because everything I've ever signed that the lending beasts, the lending scam artists have ever put in front of me has wound up costing me hugely, like incalculably. It's been a bad decision. Even consolidation turned out to be a very stupid idea. And, you know, you don't know these things going in. It's usually only months or years later that you realize, wow, I really shouldn't have done that. So word to the wise, guys, don't do a deal with the devil. You know, this lending system has already demonstrated what it is, and it's a trap. It's a trick. It's a trap, not to be trusted at all. So I could see that happening. And that's just one of many things I could see happening prior to them turning the loans back on. Frankly, the sort of nuclear, and this is kind of a big fear of mine, another thing that I could see happening, and I'm looking for your comments right now, guys, by the way. I'm sorry to be lagging on this. Another thing that I could see, actually a very serious fear of mine. Oh, I need to change my scroll, don't I? I'm going to turn off the scroll because it's not Christmas anymore. By the way, thanks to Lisa Ansell for this awesome scarf. It's wintertime, certainly up here in northern Wisconsin. And Lisa Ansell in California was kind enough to get me this scarf. As you can see, it's got the not even trademarked, SLJ moniker embroidered in it. So if you want one of these scarves, let us know. And it's something we're kicking around. I'm not so sure that people would want to buy this SLJ scarf, but who knows? Anything we can do to fundraise, guys, is super helpful. One small little caveat, please donate, guys. Please donate if you would, please. I have to mention this. I should have mentioned it the very first thing. Our donations have tanked, dudes, since the first of the year, frankly, since like Christmas or something. And I hate fundraising, and this always happens, but I would just ask you to please, if you would, please donate. You can see the link right there. We can survive and thrive and fight this battle and do what we do on very little. We can't do it on nothing. I hate fundraising. We are in arrears at the moment, which makes me very nervous. I don't want to bore you, but we're like $300 on the minus on our utility bill for our home office right here. My little haunt. And I'm smiling, but my butt is actually quite clenched. So please, just if you appreciate what we do, guys, please just donate. You can see the link. So thanks for the scarf, Lisa. But here's my biggest fear, getting back to this. Sorry to string along. My biggest fear, guys, is that right before they turn these loans back on, they're going to realize that the lending system is just fucking done, and that just nobody's going to pay. Very few people are going to pay. Maybe nobody. Almost nobody's going to pay when they try and turn these loans back on. I could see the Department of Education selling the entire direct loan portfolio to Wall Street and other investors, maybe China, who knows? I could see that happening. And I could see some Wall Street scumbags paying pennies on the dollar for these loans, but even still with the caveat that bankruptcy rights and statutes of limitations must remain gone from the loans. I could see that happening, guys. So that would be fucking terrible for us. You know, President Biden never wanted to cancel loans. Frankly, he never even wanted to even know that he had the power to cancel loans, quite frankly. President Biden is, frankly, an enemy of ours. He's been in bed with the lending industry for decades, since he was a junior congressman in fucking Delaware in 1976 when they first started monkeying around with bankruptcy laws. So I could see that happening, guys. I could see the snakes on Wall Street buying this loan portfolio for a hugely discounted value. Then we're thrown to the wolves, and the loans then cannot be canceled by the president. So that would solve a lot of problems in Washington, D.C. They'd get paid who knows, half the value or something, even though the portfolio is worth far less than that. They get paid at least something for the loans. They could wash their hands of it. And that's something that really I am afraid of, guys. And that's the kind of thing that they will do under the cover of darkness. And we won't even know until after it's happened. Hey, Terry Dodd's with us tonight. Hey, Terry, I'm finally getting to all your comments, guys. And let me even know until after it's happened. Let me just do this. Hey, Terry Dodd. Hey, how's it going, Terry? Terry's with us tonight. Tried and true stalwart member, Terry Dodd. I'm just waiting for your comments to load here, guys. So yeah, that would be bad. I could see them, and they've already announced that they're going to roll out yet another income-driven repayment program. They're going to go, yeah, we're going to turn back on the loans, but we're going to put your loans into deferment for the first 6 months or something, a grace period. And yeah, just sign here, and we're going to go ahead and put you into an income-driven repayment program. And you only pay X amount, and after X number of years, we're going to cancel your loans, and everything's going to be hunky and dory. And ladies and gentlemen, again, that is a trick. It's a trap. In my humble opinion, nobody should do it. Nobody should sign anything put in front of them by the Department of Education because they are not trustworthy. Of the 4 income-driven repayment plans that are already in existence, of the millions of people who have tried for them, not even 1% have gotten their loans canceled, not even close to 1%. Like last I checked, 32 people had qualified to get their loans canceled under the income contingent repayment plan, for example. 32 people out of who knows how many millions have signed up for it. And, the vast majority of people are being disqualified out of these programs. So they look pretty good going in, but then year 8 or 9 rolls around, or maybe year 18 or 19, when you're getting close to the end of the plan, and all of a sudden they go, oh, no, you didn't dot your I and cross your T, and yeah, you're not getting this cancellation. No. You can try again and wait another 20 years, and, maybe that'll work for you, but that's what they do. These IDRs are not meant to actually be completed. The Department of Education has no desire or intentions of actually canceling loans. They only do it kicking and screaming. Betsy DeVos, the Secretary of Education, she was literally threatened by a federal judge with prison time because the Department of Education just kept dragging its feet on canceling student loans. So even under court order, the Department of Education, I'm telling you, the Department of Education is an out of control, predatory beast, and it feeds on you and me. Don't feed the beast, and don't do deals. Don't sign anything that the beast puts in front of you. It's not smart. It's just not smart. And again, who knows all the various dastardly deeds that they can sneak in on you between now and 20 years from now. But believe me, they are many and everywhere. This entire lending scam is nothing but a series of tricks and traps at every step in the way. Quite frankly, another thing I could maybe see happening, and this is even a further stretch, and this would be very, quite frankly, smart, in my humble opinion, of the Department of Education. I know there are some good people at the department. If they would just realize that there is no kicking this can down the road anymore. This is a radioactive, toxic 55-gallon drum that is not going to be kicked even another inch. That's true. The people are done. The people are done with this lending scam. They're done. So I could see, and maybe this is just kind of a fun prediction for the record, I could see the Department of Education like getting hacked or something, or like there's some kind of a weird something bad happen, a rogue employee, who knows, and all of a sudden they lose all their data or something, or one of their contractors just completely fucks up or something, and they lose all the data and they can't verify the loans anymore, and all of a sudden they go, well, sorry guys, the loans are just gone now. Like, that would solve a lot of problems for the people in Washington, D.C., because there is no more, I don't see any way to save any kind of face on doing what is right for these loans. And what is right for these loans is erasing them. This is a nationally threatening, unconstitutional catastrophe we have on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. And that is not an exaggeration. I am not going out on a limb when I say that. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not even being dramatic. It is a national threat. When you have people committing suicide, people killing their entire families, with student loan debt as a major contributing factor, when people are fleeing the country, when more than 4 out of 5 of all student loan borrowers were never going to be able to repay their loans. Houston, we have more than a problem. We have a dead dog. We've got a epic fail on our hands. When it gets to the point when the people of Texas owe $141 billion on the debt, when people of California owe $247 billion in mostly federal student loan debt, Houston, we're going home. This one's done. This one's over. So Terry Dodd says they're probably negotiating to sell the lending system now under our noses, and we might not even know it yet. No, in fact, I guarantee you, Terry, that they are. Even under President Trump. I discovered it. It's not a huge discovery. It was reported in the Wall Street Journal, I believe. But what is that company that Pete Buttigieg used to work for? Terrible, terrible, swampy company. Anyways, they were doing market valuations on the market value of the federal student loan portfolio. So there are a lot of people that would love to take over these predatory loans and inflict them on the citizens, and the government would love to wash their hands of the responsibility. So, guys, in all of the cases that I just mentioned, and you may have your own doomsday scenarios for what we might see in the coming months. In all of those cases that I just mentioned, honestly, guys, in my humble opinion, there's no crystal ball we can look in to see what the right thing to do is, but the right thing to do in all of those cases, in my humble opinion, is to make sure that you do not ever pay another dime into this beast. Don't feed this beast. Let the people in Washington, D.C. go through their nonsense, go through their fire drills. And that's all good and well. But no matter what you do, don't pay. We're telling everybody right now, the Democrats had their chance last session to orchestrate the orderly unwinding, the civil unwinding of this failed lending scam by returning constitutional bankruptcy rights. They decided not to. They chose not to. And if they think they can string us along for another 2 years, they're wrong. Till the presidential election, so Elizabeth Warren can pretend that she's fighting for us again, just like Biden did, and pull an election. No, that's not going to happen. People are smarter than that. We're not idiots. We may not all be experts on the student loan program, but we can smell dog shit when we smell it, and I think people are not dumb. And we won't be fooled. The lending system is toast, guys. The Democrats betrayed us, and at this point, we are in the Wild West. And I tell everybody, who knows what's going to happen? You should bulletproof yourself. I hope you don't pay. I would beg you to not pay. In my humble opinion, it's not only unwise, but unpatriotic to ever put another dollar in this failed lending beast. The loans will, by and large, not be paid. That's just an absolute supreme truth. Even before the pandemic, 2/3 of everybody had stopped paying. So what's that going to go up to whenever they start demanding payment again? It's going to go up from 60% to 80% easily, if not 90%. And at what point what are we even talking about, guys? The lending system is toast. It's a national joke, and the worst thing you can do is feed the beast. Hey, Joanna's with us tonight from Florida. Hey, Joanna. Joanna says the Department of Education is the biggest piece of SHT. I think that, what does that stand for? I'm not sure. I completely agree, Alan Collins. I will never sign anything from the Department of Education ever again. Thanks for the warning. We have a sick, psychotic mess on our hands. Yeah, dysfunctional, psychotic, I would say sociopathic, nationally threatening, red state wrecking. Republicans should be on our side, guys. I'm telling you, MAGA Nation. These people have student loans just like we do. This is not a liberal snowflake thing. Oh, by the way, despite the scarf, I already talked about the scarf. Thank you for the scarf, by the way, Lisa. This thing is just awesome. Yeah. So the thing is one big sociopathic, psychotic mess. It's a piece of social engineering by both the left and the right. You know, the Democrats really betrayed their true self on this. It is also the liberal elite that really like this lending scam, ladies and gentlemen. And I can talk about that a little bit, but people who stopped our bankruptcy bill last session are people like Elizabeth Warren, in a very sneaky way, so that she didn't have to be, she didn't have to take credit for it. But, we saw DNC operatives going out of their way to throw water on the concept of returning bankruptcy rights to student loans. I kid you not. So this thing goes pretty deep. We're talking about deep state uniparty things going on here. And as I said, if you look at the worst hurt states, we're talking about states like North and South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Florida, Tennessee, Missouri. Texas is among the worst, depending on how you count it. Georgia is the worst, by the way. How'd that last election go for the Republicans, by the way? Think student loans may have had something to do with that? Yeah, they did. But I digress. Hey, Lisa Ansel says, if anyone is interested in getting a cashmere feel Burberry style SLJ monogram scarf, like I just showed you, like I already modeled, I'm not going to do it again. Please let me know. The cost is $50. Oh my goodness. It's a nice scarf. It's very soft, by the way, very luxurious. Breakdown is $25 is Lisa's cost to make them. $25. Oh, $25 to donate to Alan per scarf. Well, thank you, Lisa. You are way too kind. I appreciate that greatly. So yeah, talk to Lisa. Lisa Ansell, Ansell. You can find her on Facebook. So Gordon Wayne Watts is here with us. Hey, Gordon. Thanks to all who like my comments. I can't reciprocate for another 39 or so hours. I'm still in Facebook jail. Normally I might blame you and wag my finger at you, Gordon, for being in Facebook jail, but Facebook is terrible, guys. Facebook is throttling us. So I make no judgments on people who get thrown in Facebook jail. Quite frankly, in my humble opinion, it's a badge of honor. Hey, Lisa Ansell says, you are talking, and I'm going kind of reverse order, so I apologize. Lisa Ansell says, you are talking about the Longeneckers who have stolen our constitutionally guaranteed right to declare bankruptcy from under the radar. Yes, Lisa. I'm talking about the unelected bureaucrats in and around, including around, like private guys who we will never know. The Department of Education, that whole hornet's nest. Like David Longenecker, who was instrumental in getting bankruptcy protections taken away. Speaking of which, one last announcement that's important, guys, I should have mentioned. They are going to re-air our documentary on MSNBC on January 15th. And let me just dial that in one more time. I know there's holiday Christmas stuff involved here, and merry belated. By the way, it is actually Christmas Eve in the Christian Orthodox Church, so Greek, Macedonian, Russian Orthodox. It's actually Christmas Eve, so actually this is still appropriate. Merry Christmas Eve, everyone. But as I was saying, our documentary, Lone Wolves, that you can see scrolling right there, hopefully. It is available to watch right now, tonight, as we speak, on the Peacock network. So if you have Peacock on your TV, on your little Roku thing, you can watch it right now, or you can watch it for free on MSNBC on December 15th, which is a little more than a week away. But check it out. It's a very strong film. Like, if you haven't seen the film, you need to see the film. That's the most important documentary made on the student loan problem to date. And that's saying a lot. So definitely check out the film. I'm going to leave that scrolling below. Oh, you can also see our donation link. Sorry. I really hate asking for money, guys. Would you, just please make it easier on me. So, I don't think I'm going to be able to get to all your comments tonight, guys. It's a little too much. I think we've gone on a little too long tonight, but I hope you can appreciate all that we are doing to fight this battle, ladies and gentlemen. We got so much done last year, despite the just blatant betrayal, and despite the fact that we're now headed into a mixed Congress. I hope that the past, frankly, 1,000 days, the past 3 years that we have started calling for loan cancellation, I hope that you all are surprised and impressed that all came from this group. I kid you not. And all the people out there who were fighting in the trenches with me, getting their knuckles bloody and dirty. You know who you are. I can't name you all. Thousands of people. I salute you. We salute you. We really did something here. But unfortunately, guys, we weren't able to quite finish the mission. We've got a little ways to go. And these next few months, months, hopefully no more than a year, guys. This should be the year that we get this done. I would like to have this done by summertime. And it might get ugly. But whatever the future brings to us, holds for us. We got to fight, guys. And to everybody out there who did nothing over the past year, over the past 3 years, you need to turn over a new leaf, because we're not here to fight your battle for you. This is a working, fighting group. And when you sit there and eat popcorn thinking you're better than us, that's when we lose. And if you think you can go to another group and join them because you don't like my freaking attitude, well, you go ahead and do that. You join those other nonsense groups. We don't want you here. We know that we are on the right path, and we've seen these other groups in action, and we know that they're just completely fake, quite frankly. This issue comes down to bankruptcy, guys. It just does. So we tell the truth on this group, and that will never change. We know the path to actual student loan justice. And hear me now, believe me later if you want, but whatever. If you are on this group, we expect you to be helping. And the least you can be doing are our daily actions. Maybe the last thing, maybe one more comment, a question from Lisa. Alan, we've never done an event for your book talk at USC ? I published that book in 2009. It's called there it is right there. Student Loan Scam right there. The book, frankly, has got great legs, I should say. It's, I think, selling better than ever now, but which is not great. I get residual checks from my publisher of $100 every 6 months or something. So I don't know. I think it might be a little too late in the life of the book to be doing book tours and stuff. Frankly, I really should write another book. Well, I'm very proud of this book, and it has stood the test of time. And nobody was writing any books about student loans before I wrote this book, and so I'm very proud of that. I finished the book even before the financial crisis happened, 2008. So I gave the manuscript to the publisher right at the end of 2007, I think, or maybe the end of 2008. So the book, while very important and more relevant today than it was the day that I wrote it, I kind of need to update that because so much has happened since 2009. The debt has more than doubled and many other things. So I probably should write another book, honestly. I've just been lazy. That first book came to me, the publishing company, Beacon Press. They just approached me one day and said, "Hey, you want to write a book? We'll pay you." And I go, okay. But I apparently actually writing a book normally is a way harder thing. You have to like get an agent and you have to pitch the book. And I'm not a pitchy guy. I don't like pitching things and stuff. So, anyways, I probably should write another book. And if I do, Lisa, I guarantee you, I would love to come to USC and talk about it. And frankly, I should really get off my ass. But I think I will leave it there at that. Did I leave any unfinished business? No, I think I pretty much covered it all. But I will just say, guys, get ready. We need you fighting with us. And that's the most important thing that I'll say. Without you, nothing is going to happen. If you want to spend the rest of your life trapped by this debt, and that's a very real possibility. If you want to die under the dark cloud of this debt, then do nothing. Sit around and wait and watch and worry and wring your hands and, read Forbes magazine and, read CNBC and the Wall Street Journal and go, oh, I wonder what they're going to do. I wonder what they're going to do. Yeah. Keep doing that. If you want to die with this debt, that's what our opposition, the bad guys, that's what they want you doing. So if you want to be a fucking sheep, then yeah, do that. If not, if you're ready to fight the good fight with the Constitution on our side, with the founding fathers on our side, then join us. And don't think that anybody's going to pull your weight for you. This is not a hard problem to solve, guys, but you got to show up. So that's the most important thing I'll say tonight. So, with that, I will just wish you all a very blessed weekend. Hope you all have a great Saturday. I will be back on Sunday. Hats off to our fearless co-leader, Ed McKinley, who is on sabbatical at the moment. I think I'm going to go on sabbatical in a week or so, by the way, for maybe a week or so. In a week or so. But yeah, guys, now is the time. And this is going to be way tougher than last year. So we're going to need way more people stepping up. And that means you. Don't forget what I said. It's a fun battle to fight, by the way. You sleep well at night when you're fighting this battle loudly and proudly. The very last thing I'm going to say is doing our daily actions is great, and you can see them right there. Lately, we're only doing a few daily actions a week because we're waiting for the dust to settle. Get into the habit of doing our daily actions, please. But maybe even more important, educate yourself. Know what I know. And what I know is contained in the most recent 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 articles here, studentloanjustice.medium.com. Take your time, read our most recent handful of articles, and you'll know pretty much what I know, and you will be a very fine, fit, and fierce student loan justice warrior, and feared, and hopefully fearless. And we need you in this fight because this is your battle. And if you're not fighting it, then we're losing it. So good luck, everyone. I'll see you on Sunday. Godspeed and God bless everyone.